Hello and welcome to this Java tutorial. So in the previous video, we explored one of the conditional statement, which is if else in Java, right? And in this video, we'll discuss the another conditional statement, which is the switch statement. So along with the traditional switch case, we'll also discuss one of the enhancement to the switch statement, which is known as switch expressions. So actually in Java 21, there is another enhancement to switch statement, which is the use of pattern matching with switch. And that part we'll do actually in a separate video. So in this video, we'll only discuss switch case, traditional way, and switch expressions. So coming to switch statement. So if we go by definition, then switch statement is Java's decision making construct, which can have a number of possible execution paths based on the value of an expression. So it is similar to if else if ladder actually. In fact, it is an alternative to using the if else if ladder, and compared to the lengthy if else chains, which case provides actually cleaner syntax, improved readability, and better performance also. So these are some of the benefits of using switch statement. And if you see the syntax of switch statement in Java, it is like this. So initially you have a switch statement with some expression, and then you have case statements. Whatever this expression gives, if this value matches this expression, that particular case will be executed. Let's go through the steps. When a value is passed in the switch expression, it is evaluated once. We'll pass some value here, right? And it will evaluate that value. Then its result is compared against each case value. Then it will compare this value with each case value. And wherever it finds that value, whenever a match is found, the corresponding case block executes. It will execute that particular case block. Code execution within the case statement is terminated when the break statement is encountered. So every case has an associated break, if you see, right? So that's how it knows that this case block has ended. Here we don't have curly braces, if you have noticed, because break statement is used for that purpose, that this particular block is over. All the statements within this case block will be executed until it encounters the break statement. Once the break statement is encountered, it will come out of the whole switch case statement. This whole statement, it will come out once one of the case block is executed, right? So no other case statement is executed and control comes out of the switch case statement. If no match is found, the default block executes. There is also a default statement. So if none of these values match this expression, then you can write something in this default that will be executed. But this is optional actually. In if else if, right, you have at the end else. Same way here you have default. So if none of the values in the case statement matches the value of the expression and default statement is also not there, then control will come out of the switch case statement executing nothing. So this is optional actually. If you don't give, then you will come out. But generally you give so that you can give some meaningful statement, right? That invalid value or something message, right? So break statement also, it is not mandatory to have break statement in every case statement. But if you omit break, it causes fall through. So all the subsequent case statement will also be executed, right? If I don't have break here and this expression matches this value, so this block will execute, but Java won't know that it has to end here. It will execute this block also. If it does not have break, then after that, whatever is there, that will be executed. Unless it encounters break, it will keep on executing all the case statements, right? So that is one thing you have to take care of, that always put a break statement. Sometimes you may have to group a set of case statements, right? Then you may omit it intentionally, but generally it happens due to negligence also, that you may forget to put a break statement, and in that case you may have a case where several case statements are executed. So these are some rules for using Java switch statement. Which switch statement works with primitive types, void, short, char, int, and their wrapper classes. Works with Java enum too. There is something called enum. You can use that also. From Java 7 onward, string can also be used as an expression. So here you can give all the primitive types, enum, or even string now with Java 7. So switch case statement in its traditional form actually can only be used for equality test. Why stress on this traditional form? Because with new pattern matching, you can also give some other values, greater than, less than, all that. Now you can do, but with traditional form, you can only use for equality test. You can't use greater than, not equal to, etc. Value of the case statement can only be a constant expression. Variables are not allowed, and you can't have duplicate case values. Each case statement should have a unique value, and whatever type you give for the expression, case value should have the same type. So if the expression is int, then case also should have int values. Default statement is not mandatory. Break is also not mandatory. But as we discussed, if you leave, then you will have a fall through. So with all that, let's go and see one example to have some clarity. Okay, so let's create an example of switch case. So for that, what I'll do, I'll create a class within this package basic.conditions. New class, let's name it switch case demo. Right. So let's take a case where we have a month as a variable, so any value, and using switch case, we'll find out which month it is: January, February, March, April, right? So we will have a switch on this month, right? Then we will have different case values. Case 1. So for case, you always use a constant. Within that, month is January, and always use break. So this is one case. We will have many such cases. So let me copy this only. Case 2, case 3, case 4, case 5, case 6. February, March, April, May, June. Then again, I can copy all of them. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And then we'll have here July, August, September, October, November, and at the end, December. All right. And if you notice here, I haven't given default initially. If I run it, I'll get month is May. So using switch, it will come here 5, right? Month is 5. Then it will see which case. So 5. This case block will be executed. So I'll get month is May, and then it will break out of this whole switch statement. We can put something here. After switch case. So it should come here, right? Let's change it to 11. So I'll get month is November, and then it will come out after switch case. Now if I give some other value, right, which is beyond this 15, then we just get after switch case. So that's where we can use default to give some default message, right? Default that we can just put wrong month, right? So at least we'll get some message. Now if I run this, I get wrong month. So that is the use of default. That is why it is okay to put. But when I was not putting, at least I was not getting any error. So that is the use of default here with switch case. Now we have the full switch case. You see syntax wise, we have switch case break, and at the end we have default also. Okay, so now once we have idea of the basic switch case, now let's test this statement, that it is not mandatory to have break statement in every case statement, but omitting break causes fall through, meaning subsequent cases will execute even if they don't match the value of the expression, right? So for that, what we'll do, let's remove break from everywhere. Okay, so break. All right. Now let's say we give month as 7, right? What we have done, we don't have any break and month is 7. So see the output. You see what has happened? Starts with July, but then since there is no break, it continues till default. What exactly is happening? Month is 7. So that value it will match. It will come here. It will execute this block, but then it doesn't know that it has to stop here, right? Java runtime doesn't know because there is no break. So it will go to this case also, 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 even default. That is why we are getting till 12 and default, right? So that is what you mean by all the subsequent case statement, right? Starts from 7 and all the subsequent case statements are also executed because we don't have any break. So that is why there should be a break statement. Okay, so I hope we are clear with the basic things, why we should have default, why break statement is required, and what is the basic syntax of switch case statement. So now let's do another example where we'll use a string as expression in switch, right? I'll create a new class, switch case string, name it. So what we'll try to do here is we'll get a department name and we have to return a department code. Return the department code for the past department name. So we'll create a separate method to do it. Okay. So let's say public static will also return a string get department code. It will get a name, DEPT name, right? And from here we'll send a DE, or let's say name equal to some name. Let's say beginning human resources. All right. And what we have to do is we have to return a department code. We can take one variable string DEPT equal to double quotes. Then we can do a switch on this DEPT name. Then we can have different case. Case it is human resources, then DEPT code will be HR, right? And break. Don't forget this break. Then let's add some more cases. Um, let's say accounts. In that case, it is ACCT. Let's say, what can we take? Administration. That case, it is admin, right? Use lowercase. All right. And then we have to return also, right? So return PPT code. Here we'll call it. So bring PPT code. That's where we'll get all this method with department name. Then I can print it. Department code PPT code. So department code is HR. Now if I give accounts here, we get ACCT, right? So what we have done here is we have used string also as expression with switch, and we have also seen a case where we have to return a value, how we can do with traditional switch case. Then we come to one more thing, which is nested switch statement in Java. So just like nested if statement, you can also nest one switch case statement within another switch case statement. So this is useful when your decision making depends on multiple variables, right? So for example, you have to check both month and week, let's say, right? Then you can use a nested switch within one switch case. So let's see one example. I've already created one example for that. I didn't want to type all this. Okay, so I've done that beforehand. So what it is doing is based on your course, whatever course you have taken or department, whichever department you belong to, what will be the subject for that particular course in each year. First year, second year, third year, fourth year. And you have to switch on department also, right? So department as well as for year. So for the given department, what will be the subjects in each year? That's what you are trying to do here, right? So for department, we'll have the first, or you can say outer switch statement. If it is IT, then what will be the subject in the given year? So you'll have another switch on year. When year is 1, then subjects. When year is 2, then subjects. Year is 3, then what are the subjects? Same way for year 4 subjects. And default also is there, invalid year. And with each case, there is a break also, correct? Then for outer case, there is a break after the switch. That is also important. Then you have another case for the outer switch. If department is EC, then again you have for each year subjects with break. Then for this case, you should have a break here, right after this switch. So that's how I can create a nested switch statement also. Right now it is ECE, year is 3, so I'm getting subjects as VLSI Design Embedded Systems, which is for year 3 here, right? So it is going in the correct one using this and this ECE and department. So switch on department ECE. So case IT, case ECE, it will come here. Then year is 3. So switch year, it will come here. That's how I'm getting these subjects. All right, so that's how you can create a nested switch statement also, just like nested if else. Now let's discuss another thing also. In the beginning itself, I said that switch case performs better than if else, that it is more efficient. So why is that? What happens is that during compilation, the Java compiler creates a jump table for switch cases. So it creates a jump table so it can directly jump to the particular case. Right? Let's try to see with what exactly happens is, suppose I have switch, right? Switch on some I, right? Then I'll have different cases, right? Case, let's say one with some statements, case two with some statements. Then I may have a case three with some statements. So what happens is Java will create a jump table during compilation itself. When it is compiling this code, it will create kind of, which is like an array, right? That I'll have case 1, case 2, case 3, and associated code with that, right? So suppose i's value is 2, right? I is 2. So seeing this value, it can directly go to that particular index and directly execute these statements here. Whatever statements are there, those can be executed. It can directly jump to that particular. If it is 3, then it can directly jump to this. Whereas with if else, you have to go through each condition, evaluate it. First condition, is it false? Yes. Then go to another condition, false. Then go to another condition. It has to go through the whole if else if condition, right? Whatever conditions are there, it has to go through all of them until it finds a condition which evaluates to true. Whereas with switch case, it can directly jump to the particular case which is true as per the given expression. That is why switch case is more efficient than if else if. And that is why case value is always a constant. Okay, so that ends what we had to do about switch statement. And we move on to the new enhancement, which is switch expressions in Java. So it was introduced as a preview in Java 12 as a preview feature, and it became finalized in Java 14. So this switch expression actually extends the traditional switch statement so that switch can be used both as a statement as well as an expression. So with this enhancement, your code is more concise. You don't need multiple break statements, and you can group many cases easily. So these are some of the benefits of using switch expressions. How you write switch expression is, now there is a new switch label which is like this. So case some value and you have this arrow kind of, right? So that's how you write a switch expression. And with that, you get all these benefits which we have just discussed, right? So I already have one code actually. So this is this traditional way, right? Suppose I want to go through quarter in the year, quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, quarter 4, based on the month. So here, if you see, we are grouping these three cases, right? We have break only after 3, because if value is 1, 2, or 3, we want quarter 1 as value. So even if it's fall through here, that is okay within this, right? If we give 2, we get quarter 1. It will come here and it will fall through to 3, then it will print this and then break. So that's how we have done it using traditional switch, and we are grouping values. So now if we see the problems here, even if we have same thing for 3 case values, right? 1, 2, and 3, still we need to write them in different lines, right? So repetition of cases, that is one problem. We need to write them on separate lines, which means a lot of code, right? Code bloating. We need breaks, right? Multiple break. And if you forget any of these, actually, then you will have a fall through, right? So you can have an accidental fall through also. You have a lot of breaks, you may have accidental fall through. Now let's try to write the same thing using the new way with switch expression. So this is clear, right? We are grouping and we need the quarter of the year. So we have break after group of three case statements here. Now let's do the same thing as switch expression demo. At least this part I can take from there itself. Month equal to 2 and switch. Now what you can do is I can group like this 1, 2, 3 and then arrow, and then I can write what is needed. Quarter 1, right? Like this I can write. Then I can write case 4 comma 5 comma 6 and quarter 2. Then I can write quarter 3 and 4. Here it will be 7, 8, 9. Here it will be 10, 11, 12. And if I want default, that also you can give like this. Default invalid month. Now if I run it, I get quarter 1. If I give 12, I get quarter 4. If I give some wrong value, 15, I get invalid month, right? Okay, so now if you compare it with this one, obviously this one looks much compact, right? This is very concise. You compare it with this code, though both are doing the same thing, right? So with switch expression, that is the benefit. It will match the label. This was one of the benefit, right? Right, allows the code to the right of the label to execute only if the label is matched. It will only execute if the label is matching. So you don't need break statement. So 5 matches here, doesn't match here, it doesn't match here. So no fall through here. Alright, so that is how you will use switch expression using this arrow, which is like lambda only. Java 8 introduced lambda expression, which also uses something similar. Now let's answer the question why actually it is called switch expression. So for that you have to know the difference between statement and expression. When we say statement, that is actually an action that has to be executed, right? Statement is an action that has to be executed. So if statement, it will execute. Case statement or switch statement, it will execute. Whereas expressions are evaluated to a value. We often use it with Boolean, right? That Boolean expression evaluates to true or false. So it is giving you a value, right? Either true or false. So that is the difference between statement and expression. What exactly it means here is that with traditional switch statement, it will execute a block of code, but does not yield a value, right? Won't be evaluated to a value directly. Whereas with switch expression, it evaluates to a value that can be directly assigned or returned. So it is easy to be used where a value is required. For that, let's go back to this string one, right? So here value was required, so we had to take it in some variable and return it. All that we had to do explicitly. Now let's see same thing how we can do with switch expression. So switch expression return. Okay. And let me copy this part from here itself. We'll make changes in this only and switch case. All right. So now what you can do is switch department. Till here it is fine. Now with case human resources, what you can do is you can use this and directly it will return the value. You don't need this part. And this part actually also we should bring here. Bring department code. Now this value is evaluated and directly given to this. Then we can have case accounts which will go here as this. Don't need this part. And case administration can take. Okay. So department name on it. Okay. It is wrong name. All right. So now same thing if you see what we did here. We had to take it in one variable. We had to use break. Now we can directly, it evaluates to this, right? We don't have to use variable here. This value will directly go there. To make it more compact, actually, what we can do is we can return here itself. That will also work. So don't even need any variable. Like this also we can use. Okay, so that is why it is called switch expression, because it evaluates to a value. So you see the difference, right? Is directly evaluating this case. This is the value. This is the value which I can directly return, or to make it more explicit, I can take it in a variable and return that, which we did previously. So if you have to write a statement block with the switch expression, then you will have to enclose those blocks in curly braces, and you have to use yield statement to return a value. What that means is, suppose here I have more lines, some code I have here. What I can do is, suppose I'm printing something, some other statement I have, or department name plus dep name. Then what I have to do is, in this case, I have to use curly braces, one thing, and I have to use yield statement to return a value that yield this value like this, right? Something here, then and yield. With that, if I do, we'll get account. But that's what you have to do if you have multiple statements within a block, right? Here or here. Use curly braces and use explicit yield, that it is yielding this value. So that is how you can use switch expression, which makes your code more concise. If you are using switch statement, you don't need multiple breaks and you can group like this. You can directly return a value. So it gives you a lot of benefits. Thanks for watching the video. Please don't forget to like and subscribe.